Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're diving into an absolutely incredible dual narrative of ambition, media, and sport. This is the story of Silvio Berlusconi. We're going to explore how his total obsession with spectacle and his serious media leverage not only built the modern era of European football as we know it, but also planted the exact seeds that would eventually doom his own club. It's the wild story of AC Milan's rise from bankruptcy to global dominance, and then, well, its inevitable decline.
All right, I want you to picture this. It's the summer of 1986. You've got 10,000 people gathered at the Arena Civica in Milan. Suddenly, the sky literally fills with the sound of Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, and 3 Agusta helicopters just descend right onto the pitch. Out steps the new owner of AC Milan, Silvio Berlusconi, along with his players. I mean, the sheer absurdity of this is incredible, because at the exact moment of this grand, cinematic entrance, AC Milan was an absolute ruin. They'd recently been relegated twice. Their previous owner had literally fled the country, leaving the club completely bankrupt. But, you see, Berlusconi wasn't selling their current reality. He was selling an unmissable future.
Section 1. The business of spectacle. Let's look at football as TV content. So Berlusconi looks at football, and using his background in real estate and television, he realizes that a football club isn't just a local sports team anymore. It's a premium entertainment product. Now, the traditional old era of football, that relied entirely on gate receipts, local pride, and frankly, heavily defensive tactics. But Berlusconi's vision was totally different. He saw a highly leveraged, broadcast-driven, global brand that was built on attacking spectacle. He knew that to capture a massive television audience, winning just wasn't enough. They had to be deeply, truly entertaining. And the engine behind this whole operation was Fininvest. Milan wasn't just some standalone business, it was a glamorous flagship deployed by Berlusconi's holding company. He used his 3 national television channels to constantly cross-promote the football club. He turned the players into superstars and the matches into premium, must-see content. The team drove TV subscriptions and ad revenue for Fininvest, and in return, Fininvest's money funded the team. It was, quite literally, a perfectly integrated media machine.
Section 2. A tactical revolution. Enter Sacchi's new machine.
Now, Berlusconi was smart enough to know that money alone wasn't going to create a dynasty, right? He needed a revolution on the pitch. But to fully understand how crazy this revolution was, we have to look at the old guard. Catenaccio was the deeply ingrained Italian football orthodoxy at the time. It was all about reactive defensive solidity, strict man-marking, and basically waiting to counterattack. Sure, it was highly effective, but it definitely wasn't the thrilling TV spectacle Berlusconi wanted. He needed someone to completely tear the old system down in favor of proactive dominance. And he found that guy in, of all people, an unknown former shoe salesman who was managing in the lower divisions, Arrigo Sacchi.
So Sacchi comes in and just completely tears up the playbook. He swapped out traditional man marking for zonal marking. He pushed up a dangerously high defensive line, demanded a swarming press to win the ball back instantly, and required extreme, almost grueling athletic conditioning. His training sessions were legendary. He would actually run these intense shadow defending drills without even using a ball. The goal was to make the team move as one single, synchronized 30-meter block. It was football played as a single, suffocating organism. But of course, an idea needs execution, and Sacchi was handed the ultimate tools to make it happen. On one side, you have this legendary, homegrown Italian defensive spine, Baresi, Maldini, Costacorta. These were guys intelligent enough to actually hold Sacchi's crazy high line. And then, on the other side, the imported brilliance of the Dutch attacking trio, Van Basten, Gullit, and Rijkaard. They were the dynamic engine making that suffocating press and those lethal attacks possible. Put them together, absolutely unstoppable. Just to put into perspective how dominant this squad was, in 1988, the Ballon d'Or, which is the award for the absolute best player in Europe, was completely swept by that Dutch trio. Marco van Basten took first, Ruud Gullit took second, and Frank Rijkaard took third. 1, 2, and 3, all from the exact same club. It was a historic, unprecedented monopoly of pure talent. Section 3. The political conversion. Taking it from the pitch straight to power.
Moving into the 1990s, the on-field dominance of the club started to perfectly parallel a massive shift in Berlusconi's personal ambitions. It was like a double helix convergence. Between May 1991 and March 1993, under their new coach Fabio Capello, Milan goes on an insane 58-game unbeaten streak. People were calling them the Invincibles. Then, in January 1994, Riding this incredible wave of national visibility and success, Berlusconi officially launches his own political party. By spring, he is actually elected Prime Minister of Italy. And, as if perfectly scripted, in May 1994, AC Milan wins the Champions League final 4-0 against Barcelona. The peak of his sporting empire perfectly aligned with his rapid ascent to the highest political office.
And the branding here was just brilliant. He named his new political party Forza Italia. Now, if you know Italian football, you know this was literally a traditional stadium terrace chant. He objectively took the passion, the optimism, and the exact language of the football stadium and applied it straight to the ballot box. He leveraged the immense goodwill generated by his football club to propel an entire national political movement.
Which brings us to the central paradox of this whole story. Did Berlusconi actually love Milan, or did he just use it? Well, the answer is, he did both, simultaneously. He genuinely loved the club, and he celebrated its victories, for sure. But he also fused that personal sentiment with an absolute masterclass in media and political strategy. For him, loving a thing and exploiting it weren't opposites. They were the exact same gesture.
Section 4. The Golden Twilight, a mix of veterans and pure innovation. By the 2000s, Berlusconi is deeply entrenched in politics, so the club starts relying heavily on veteran experience and the tactical brilliance of Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti utilized the regista, a deep-lying playmaker. In a totally game-changing move, he famously shifted Andrea Pirlo, who was a highly creative attacking midfielder, back into this deep regista role. This allowed Pirlo to dictate the rhythm of the game safely away from the congested front lines, completely maximizing the team's incredible roster of creative midfielders.
But honestly, the real secret weapon of this era was Milan Lab. Founded in 2002, this was the ultimate expression of the club's forward-looking ambition. They integrated biomechanics, neuroscience, and advanced data tracking to literally predict and prevent physical injuries. See, because Berlusconi's attention was elsewhere, the club couldn't just keep buying new superstars every single summer. They had to preserve the ones they already had. And it totally worked. The lab extended the elite careers of veterans like Paolo Maldini well into their 40s. It kept an aging squad at the absolute top of European football.
And the results of combining this veteran know-how with that scientific edge? 3 Champions League finals in just 5 years. They captured 2 European crowns, which bracketed that completely heartbreaking 2005 collapse in Istanbul. It was a glorious, undeniable second act for the empire.
Section 5. The Empire's Fragility, Finding the Fatal Flaw. But here's the thing. The very dependency that fueled Milan's incredible rise ultimately became its fatal flaw. The end was kind of inevitable. See, Milan actually survived a dip in the 1990s because the owner was still actively engaged. He reinvested in the squad and hired a new visionary coach. But the decline in the 2010s, that was terminal. The owner was completely distracted by politics and courtrooms. He stopped funding the team, which led to a massive fire sale of the club's best assets. The mechanism for recovery was exactly the same as before, but the owner's focus had been completely switched off.
And there was a massive external factor at play here too, television market power. Back in the 80s and 90s, Berlusconi used local and premium pay TV to build this massive financial advantage. But by the 2010s, the broadcast-driven financial model that he actually helped invent had gone fully global. It completely outgrew the Italian market entirely. Global competitors in England and elsewhere who had much deeper pockets and massive international TV deals easily overtook Milan. The visionary had seen the future, but eventually, the future just left him behind. Ultimately, an extension cannot outlive the thing it extends. Milan was never really built as a truly independent business. At its core, it was a political and media vehicle. And just like any vehicle, the moment the driver took his hands off the wheel and stopped supplying the fuel, it starved. Which brings us to our final section. Section 6, the Cavaliere's Ledger. Visionary or vandal? So looking at it neutrally, Silvio Berlusconi was this highly complex visionary. He rescued a totally bankrupt club and turned it into a multi-generational dynasty that played some of the most beautiful football the world has ever seen. But we have to leave you with this provocative thought today. By transforming a local sport into a global political and media instrument, by making the football club a showroom for television networks and a launchpad for a national political party, did he save modern football, or did he just show everyone else exactly how to sell its soul?